Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Rebecca Clark. I am the creator and owner of Ruru Rings, and today we're going to be discussing everything that you need to know before buying quality jewelry, colored gems, and diamond edition. In this video, we're going to be discussing how to tell if your gemstone is good quality, how to take care of your gemstones, lab-grown diamonds, natural diamonds, what's the difference, what are birthstones, the 4 C's that determine if your stone is a good stone, etc, etc. So everything you need to know, like literally. I think I'm gonna call these talking segment videos Jesus, Java, and Jewelry. My Java of choice today would be Diet Dr. Pepper. Let's crack this open and get into it. So with gemstones, we have a lot to discuss. What categories are gemstones labeled into? So there is semi-precious and precious. Precious would be considered ruby, sapphire, and emerald. Anything else would be considered semi-precious. Amethyst, garnet, citrine, pearl, opal, etc. Another category that gemstones fall under would be birthstones. What are birthstones? Where did this originate from? This is personally my favorite topic to talk about, given that Ruru Rings is faith-based. I'm a person of faith myself. I'm a Christian. Otherwise, Ruru Rings would not be faith-based. Duh. Birthstones are assigned to each month. It actually originated from Christianity. In John, it lists 12 different stones that represent the 12 tribes of Israel. Gemstones are talked about a lot in the Bible. Another example would be in Exodus 28 through 31. God pretty much recruits Moses to then recruit God-ordained people, specifically metalsmiths and lapidary artists, that they would work on items such as the priestly garments, the breastplate of Aaron, and the tabernacle. Can you imagine as a metalworker or a lapidary artist literally being ordained by God to create something? Like that would be the project of all projects. Like that would literally be the best thing you could ever make, and nothing would ever be able to top that. Like literally, that sounds like the coolest thing ever, and I pray that God can use me in some type of way like that, where my creations can literally be something that's referenced in the Bible. Like imagine making the tabernacle. Imagine being a part, imagine cutting the stones that are in the tabernacle or the breastplate of Aaron. That's insane. That is the Christian metalsmith / lapidary artist's dream. That's my dream. That is amazing. And I hope to get to that point in my craft where God literally ordains me to create and be his vessel to create. Like that's insane. That's so cool to me. I've talked about this in a video before, but that's just amazing to me. That's like my favorite story of the Bible. That's a little bit of a random tangent. So anyways, birthstones are tied to the 12 tribes of Israel. They were then set to the Julian calendar, which is 12 months in it, hence the birthstones. So starting off, based from the American Gem Society's website, I'll go ahead and list off the birthstones. So starting off, we have January, that's garnet. February is amethyst. March is aquamarine and bloodstone. April is diamond. May is emerald. I'm a May baby. I have an emerald ring. June is pearl, alexandrite, and moonstone. July is ruby. August is peridot, sardonyx, and spinel. I think I said that right. September is sapphire, which, lucky you, sapphire comes in literally every single color. Upon contrary belief, people think sapphire is only blue sapphire. It literally comes in every single color. It also comes in bicolor, so you're very lucky if you were born in September. October is opal and tourmaline. Usually a pink tourmaline. Specifically on this website, it only said tourmaline, but it did have a picture of pink tourmaline. Again, usually pink tourmaline, but tourmaline comes in different colors too. November is citrine and topaz. December is tanzanite, turquoise, zircon, and more recently, this is not on the American Gem Society website, more recently blue topaz has been included in that. It does go along with the colors of the tanzanite, turquoise, and zircon, specifically the London blue topaz. I think Swiss blue topaz works just fine, but whatever, to each your own. Almost certain that wearing the birthstones actually originated from wearing it based on the month that you're in. So right now it's July that I'm making this video. I would be wearing ruby because ruby is July's birthstone. So given that, it ended up transitioning to if you're born in that birth month, then you wear that birthstone. Don't feel pressured to wear your birthstone. I personally was never really a fan of emerald until I found out about the birthstone origins, how it's from the Bible, that it's a great way to minister, saying, you know, like, oh, you like my emerald ring? Oh, it's actually my birthstone. Did you know that birthstones are actually originated from the Bible? Did you know that? Yeah. So great ministering opportunity. So given that, I've felt more inclined to wear my birthstone, even though it's not my favorite one. I think certain emerald shades are very beautiful, but most of them I'm not too fond of. Actually, when I was working at the jewelry store that I used to work at, more likely than not, people actually hated their birthstones versus actually liking them. Most people don't end up liking their birthstone. So now that we talked about different categories of gemstones, such as birthstones and everything like that, what if you're gifted, let's say your birthday's in October and you're gifted an opal ring, or your birthday's in December, you're gifted a turquoise necklace. Do you know how to take care of your piece? Do you know how to take care of your gemstone specifically? Certain opals and some turquoise are water absorbent. It can change the color of your stone. When you are gifted a piece or you buy anything with gemstones, please research your stone. I specifically cannot go into detail about every single stone ever because there are so many. It's such a vast list, and you know, there's so many gemstones out there, which is amazing because then, you know, it's like never ending finding out all these gemstones. But because I can't go into detail about every single gemstone, please do your due diligence on the gemstones that you own or that you're thinking about purchasing. That way you know how to take care of them. It extends the life of them. It extends your piece's lifetime to one lifetime to lifetimes. One of the best ways to start your research out would be researching the MOHS scale. So the MOHS scale is a scale created in 1812. To quote from a quick online search, MOHS hardness scale is a rough measurement of the resistance of a smooth surface to scratching or abrasion, expressed in terms of a scale devised in 1812 by the German mineralogist Friedrich MOHS, or Friedrich MOHS. I don't know how to say that. And I took German for a year. I should know how to do that. F-R-I-E, whatever. Easiest way to remember this scale is basically how scratch resistant and chip resistant your stone is, how durable your stone will be. Diamonds are a 10 on the MOHS scale, sapphire and ruby are a 9 on the MOHS scale. These are great options for long time use, specifically if you were, you know, wanting an engagement ring, you want a diamond, definitely do a diamond. It's 10 on the MOHS scale, it's gonna last a very long time, it's gonna be very chip resistant, scratch resistant, etc. A sapphire or a ruby, if you're not into diamonds, you want to have a different type of engagement ring with a different color stone, you don't want to have a traditional diamond, go with sapphire. Sapphire, again, comes in literally every color of the color wheel, every color of the rainbow. Get a sapphire if you don't want a traditional diamond. They will last you a very long time, given the fact that it is a 9 on the MOHS scale, which actually ruby is actually a type of sapphire, by the way. A little secret I learned in the jewelry industry, ruby is actually a certain color of sapphire. It's just marketed as ruby. They're both corundum stones. They're the same, it's just different colors. But don't tell anyone I told you that. Pearls and amber have a 2.5 on the MOHS scale. That means these are great for occasional wear, not everyday wear. Very chip prone, scratch prone. They get broken very easily, crushed, etc. There are different ways gemstones are graded, meaning how much they would cost you based on the 4 C's. This also pertains to diamonds. It's a little bit more intense with diamonds. I'm just going to give a brief overview about the 4 C's for the gemstones and then go more in depth with the diamonds, because you mainly want to care more about the 4 C's when it comes to the diamonds versus gemstones. Starting off, we have color, clarity, cut, and carat. Color would mean the color of the gemstone based on gemologist standards. So let's say for a blue sapphire, a lot of people think that a blue sapphire, the darker the blue, the better of a sapphire it is. It's actually not true. When it comes to blue sapphires, the best blue you can get is a Ceylon blue. Think of that as a royal or cobalt blue. It's translucent, it's a very pretty blue. That is gemologist standards of the best blue sapphire you can get. Clarity would be if the stone has inclusions such as carbon or other minerals inside, whether it's cloudy or clear, translucent or not. Cut would be the quality of the cut and the shape, whether or not that cut allows the brightest shine and the most light to come through. Last but not least is carat. So carat is the density of your stone, the actual weight of your stone. So usually with carats, there's usually a range depending on the size of the stone that the carat would fall under. So for an 8x6 stone, I believe that would be 1 carat to 1.5 carats. You can have 2 stones the exact same size, so 2 oval 8x6s, and it can be a 1.02 carat and a 1.25 carat. Carat's mainly based on the density, not necessarily the shape or the size but it does have a good range based on the size of it, if that makes sense. This video is basically me just spouting off all the random facts that I've learned over the years, both in the jewelry industry and just being a jeweler in general and researching. So you're welcome for all the information. This took me years to find out. Now there are different cuts to stones. Starting off, we have cabochons. That would be a flat bottom and then a rounded top. We have facets. So facets would be basically the stereotypical shape of a diamond. Beaded would be anything with a drilled hole in the middle to allow it to be strung or beaded on silk cord or something like that. Rough and rubs / rubes, I don't really know how to pronounce that correctly. These are more for lapidary artists or people that cut stones. Rough would be basically you literally just got it from the earth. It might be oiled and cleaned, but it looks just like a rock you'd find outside. Rubs would be the shaped version of a stone, but it's not polished. I personally dabble in a little bit of lapidary. I love being able to have a start to finish of a ring or a piece of jewelry. I think it's really cool to have a start to finish process of it. Given that also means I need to get into lapidary a little more. I do want to do a video on how to cut and shape your own stones because I think it's really cool to learn how to do that. And also, if you are a jeweler, it's a good option to have because sometimes you're not going to be able to find the right stone that you're looking for the project. So why not be able to make it yourself? Inlay would be another one. Inlay is basically a crushed up, finely crushed version of a stone, typically opal or sometimes turquoise. There's also different shapes of stones. There's round, oval, pear, brilliant, azure, kite, emerald, elongated azure, trillion. There's a lot of different types of shapes of stones. Usually when you are looking into buying a stone, you typically have an idea of a shape you want to get. Personally, when I get a wedding ring, I'll be getting an oval ring because I have chunkier fingers and I feel like they look a little stout. When I have an oval shaped stone on my hand, I feel like it elongates my fingers. It makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about my hand, a little more confident than I was before. I've tried other styles like the round. I hate how the round looks on my hand. I feel like it makes it look more chubby. So that is a factor you want to consider when you are looking for rings. What shape makes you feel the best? What shape makes you feel more confident? Because they're one of my favorite stones, and this is a very good topic to discuss. This also relates to lapis, turquoise, other types of stones. We are going to discuss opals. This information can make or break your relationship with opals. There are many types of opals such as Ethiopian, Australian, Mexican fire opal, matrix opal, doublet, triplet, boulder, crystal, white-based, black-based, and so on and so on. There's so many different types of opals. The main subject about the opals that I'm specifically wanting to discuss is the care aspect. When you're purchasing an opal piece, you have to figure out what type of opal it is. Usually when you're purchasing from someone who makes handmade, they're doing a lot of research before purchasing their gemstones, so they know right off the bat what type of stone it is. Again, another reason why you should buy handmade. But you need to know what type of opal it is. Some opals are hydrophilic. That means they love water. They're water absorbent. A great example of this would be Mexican fire opal or Ethiopian opals. These are opals that absorb water. So if you're to wear an opal pendant or an opal ring, if you're to wear it in the shower every single day, after so long, it's gonna lose the shine and luster that you bought it for. It's gonna lose all the color. It's gonna look like a little cloud. Like, it's gonna look bad. I personally have worked with Ethiopian opals in the past and Mexican fire opals, especially when I wire wrapped. I'm not necessarily fond of them just because of the water absorbent nature that they have, but I know a lot of people love the look of Ethiopian and Mexican fire opals. I don't necessarily work with them as much anymore because of that. I wanna make stuff that I know is gonna last like lifetimes. But as long as you're taking care of your piece, you're more than welcome to get Ethiopian opal or Mexican fire opal that is water absorbent and not have to worry about it absorbing water as long as you take care of it. I don't really want to work with them as much. I do have a couple that I am going to try to make some pieces with. As long as you're a creator and you're using these type of opals, just make sure your customer knows how to take care of it. Make sure you write it down on a card in their order, you put it somewhere on your website, on their listing, something like that, because that can ultimately be bad for you if you don't let them know about that. Once I get rid of all the rest of the Ethiopian opals and fire opals that I have, I'm not going to be using them anymore just because I want to use Australian opals such as Lightning Ridge or Boulder opals. These are opals that are not hydrophilic, meaning they don't like water. They're hydrophobic. These are opals such as like the stereotypical white opal. That would be an Australian opal. Very, very beautiful, not water absorbent, so they'll last a lot longer. The shine will stay. I don't want to have to constantly worry about wearing my ring because I forget to take it off when I wash my hands. I want to be able to wear my jewelry and not have to worry about it constantly. And although wearing a ring and while you're washing your hands, it's not going to make or break your stone immediately, like just then. It's mainly the over time aspect, especially if you're wearing a pendant or something where the stone actually touches your skin. If you're sweating ever, it will also absorb that. So I'm just personally not the biggest fan of Ethiopian opals or Mexican fire opals because of that. I think they're gorgeous, but it's mainly the durability aspect. I'm very hard on my jewelry. I always have been. I'm hard on everything I own. I wish I wasn't, but I am. Very tough on the things that I own. And Ethiopian and Mexican fire opals just don't cut it for me personally. I tend to lean towards Australian so that I don't have to have that anxiety about the stone. Okay, now that we discussed everything that I wanted to talk about when it comes to gemstones, we're gonna be talking about diamonds. So we need to know how to judge if our diamond's a good diamond. So if you're in the market of trying to find a diamond for your fiance, or I guess soon to be fiance, hopefully type of thing. If you're looking in the market of finding a diamond, you need to know what kind of diamonds are good or bad, because, you know, if you get a crappy diamond, your girl's probably not going to be too happy with you. You don't want to waste your money on something just because of the lack of knowledge. Same thing applies about the color, cut, clarity, and carat. With diamonds, the color is based off of letters D through Z. So D through F are colorless, G through J are near colorless, K through M are fair, N through R are very light, S through Z are light. Usually the term light is referring to how much yellow tint is in your diamond. When it comes to the color of diamonds, there are blue diamonds, there's pink diamonds, there's yellow diamonds. There's different colors of diamonds you can get. There's black diamond as well. All of these type of diamonds aren't necessarily in this type of color wheel where it ranges from D to Z. This specific range of like the letters pertaining to the color is mainly about the lack or lack thereof yellow in the stone. Clarity is based off of the inclusions in the stone, usually pertaining to carbon. VVS 1 through 2 is like the best one to get. VS 1 through 2 is like the next one. SI 1 through 2 is the almost like is like okay, and then I 1 through 3 is like the worst to get. So when it comes to VVS 1 through 2 and VS 1 through 2, those are fine. Stick with the VS if you're looking for a more cheaper option, because to the naked eye, you're not going to be able to see the inclusions really. You're really not going to be able to tell. From the naked eye, it's truly perfectly fine and it's more cost effective. One of the ways that the industry has included diamonds that have very, very bad clarity would be the salt and pepper diamonds. Salt and pepper diamonds are just regular diamonds that have really bad clarity, so they have a ton of inclusions and a ton of carbon in them to give the salt and pepper look. I think they're beautiful. They still have a beautiful shine. They just have a lot of inclusions, and that's why salt and pepper diamonds became a thing, because, you know, all these diamonds have inclusions, but they're not being used, so what's the best way to market them? Salt and pepper diamonds. The cut scale ranges from excellent, very good, good, fair, and poor. Usually when you're buying a piece with a diamond, it will have a card to verify the grading of the diamond, especially if you're getting it appraised. That would mean that you know exactly the type of diamond you're getting, the quality of it, if it's worth the amount that you're buying it for. I've been talking forever. I already filmed like half of this video before, but I had the camera like slanted awkwardly, and it was like, I need a new camera so badly. My camera that I have is like, it's a Nikon D3500, and it's great. It was like a beginner camera. It came with the 2 lenses and the camera bag and all that kind of stuff. But for filming, it doesn't have one of those little, what are they called? The like viewfinder, maybe? No, not the viewfinder. It's the little attachment part that you can flip out so you can see what you're filming. I literally have a mirror behind the camera right now that's held up by a gooseneck that you're supposed to put your phone on. I have this little mirror that's like connected to it so I can kind of see what I'm filming, just to make sure that the little green bar is like in focus on my face when I'm talking. But oh my goodness, it is so difficult. Half the time I have to refilm what I'm doing, and I'm saving up for a new camera. I'm thinking of getting the Nikon D7500, but if any videographers are out there or crafters or anything, please let me know if that's a good camera to get. I also do photography, so it's more so I need a camera for both. One that's good for like studio vlogs where I am up close doing jewelry making and also talking. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Okay, good drink break. Anyways, our next topic of discussion would be lab grown versus natural. This is a very controversial topic that has been discussed in the jewelry world, jewelry industry for quite some time. In the last couple of years, lab grown diamonds have become a thing. When I was working in the jewelry store that I used to work at, this was always a topic that came up into discussion when people were looking for engagement rings, and just in general, people would like flip out when this topic was being discussed. It was a very controversial thing, and you really had to go in depth about, you had to know what you were talking about to explain it to someone. I'm basically giving you the rundown that I would give customers when I worked there, so you have a good understanding of what all this is. First off, a lab-grown diamond is a real diamond. The only difference is that it's not sourced from the earth, it's sourced from a lab. It is the exact same molecules, same exact components, same minerals, everything like that, made the same way, where it's put under intense pressure, usually about a 2-year period, and it gives the exact same result. It's literally the exact same thing as a real diamond, except it's made by a man in a lab versus in the ground. They still can appear to have flaws. Again, it's literally the same thing as having a real diamond and putting it under the same kind of pressure, everything like that. There still can be inclusions such as black flecks, such as carbon. You can get different clarities and colors of the stone. If you look at it from a geological viewpoint, the difference between the stones would be the layers of their makeup. So when you have a lab-grown versus a natural, the lab-grown diamond's layers will be usually consistent lines, right? With a natural, it will have up and down lines, inconsistent lines of their layers. Think of it like a heartbeat monitor. Because the lab-grown diamond is under a consistent pressure for a consistent amount of time, it allows for the layers to form consistently. Because a natural diamond has an inconsistent pressure that causes the layers of the diamond naturally to form differently. So now we know lab-grown diamonds are considered real diamonds. So what's stopping jewelry stores from selling lab-grown as natural diamonds and making bank off of you? It's illegal. That's what's stopping them. When it comes to jewelry stores or people that take their time to resource their gems, they're getting from people that are qualified and they are certified to be doing this. They're not getting it off of like the gemstone black market. There is a laser inscription on lab-grown diamonds. It's almost like a barcode to tell you that it's a lab-grown diamond. Natural diamonds don't have that. That basically that's how you tell. You get a super expensive machine that tells you whether or not it is a lab-grown or a natural diamond based off of that laser inscription. If you don't have that laser inscription, it's considered natural, hence why it is illegal that you cannot have a lab-grown diamond without that laser inscription. They literally test as a real diamond on a diamond tester because they're real diamonds. Given that information, don't be going to a very sketch place to buy a diamond ring. One, it's probably not even going to be a real diamond, probably moissanite or something like that, or glass or something like that. Two, even if it is a real diamond, you don't know if it's a lab-grown or a natural. They could be selling you a natural diamond for $40,000 when it's a lab-grown diamond that should be $4,000. Personally, my personal opinion when it comes to lab-grown and natural diamonds, I don't really care. Sure, the idea of having a natural diamond is fantastic. I would absolutely love to have a natural diamond, but given the world we live in now and how much everything costs and how living is so expensive, etc., I'm perfectly fine having a lab-grown diamond. It's a real diamond. You don't have to worry about it not being real. It'll look the same as a natural diamond. It's just the authenticity of it being from the ground isn't there. Also, the fact that natural diamonds are also a gate-kept stone. They're pretty much all stuck in a warehouse somewhere that keeps their value super high because they're not as accessible as any other kind of gem, but they're really not rare. Diamonds just aren't really rare. I don't know if you know that yet, but they're really not that rare. There's so many of them, a surplus of them. It's just we don't have access to them. Also, my personal opinion on this is I am too clumsy and ditzy to be walking around with a $10,000 plus ring on my hand, worrying about the stone falling out, worrying about hitting my hand on something, losing the stone, losing the ring, breaking a prong, stone falls out, dropping it in the ocean, which you shouldn't be wearing your jewelry in the ocean anyways, but separate tangent. Worrying about walking around downtown and getting mugged. You know, I don't have the security of wearing that kind of jewelry. Knowing myself, my dream ring is an oval solitaire yellow gold diamond ring ranging from about 2.5 carat to 3 carat, which with a lab-grown diamond versus a natural diamond, the lab-grown version of that would be around $4,000. The natural version of that is around $45,000. So that is a huge difference in price. That would be a very, very long time before I would be able to afford that kind of diamond for myself. Or I guess for my boyfriend to afford that kind of diamond for myself. Yeah. It is up to you whether or not you have that kind of money to spend. Great, I'm so happy for you if you're able to. Again, I know I'm personally not marrying a sugar daddy to afford that kind of jewelry for me. I'm perfectly happy with a lab-grown diamond ring. Again, it is a real diamond, and I'm sure I'll be keeping that opinion for a long time. And I'm sure a lot more people are, even older folk who are very against that mindset, have transitioned to being okay with it, given the information that's now coming out about them literally being real diamonds. What about moissanite? Is that a lab-grown diamond? What is moissanite? The answer is no, it's not a real diamond. True authentic moissanite is actually really cool. It's literally from meteorites crashing. So the intense pressure, heat, tension, the combination of all those items hitting the earth, that meteorite hitting the earth like that, diamond-like crystals form around the crash site, which have been deemed as moissanite. So finding real moissanite and knowing that it is real moissanite is very, very hard to come by. It's a very, very, very rare. Given that almost always when you get a moissanite, it is going to be a lab-grown moissanite. For me, that ruins any kind of reason I would want to buy a moissanite, just because the only reason I would want to buy it is because it literally is from a meteorite. If I can't get that, then there's no point. I would just rather get a lab-grown diamond. It's almost the same cost-wise anyways. For those of you who like that kind of aspect and that kind of story behind it, definitely go with moissanite if you want. I personally will be going with lab-grown diamond. It's, again, everything's up to preference. So I believe we covered everything that you guys need to know before buying quality jewelry, gemstones, and diamond edition. If you have any questions or if there's anything that I left out that you still have questions about or you're still wondering about, leave them down below in the comments. I'd love to give you more information, researching on my part. Again, this was more of an info dump of everything I learned over the years about jewelry, being a jeweler, being in the jewelry industry, etc., etc. I hope you guys have a great day. God bless you guys. If you have any prayer requests, leave them down below in the comments. I'd love to pray for you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe if you do feel so inclined. Thanks again for watching. I hope you tune in next week for the next video. And yeah, I'll see you when I see you. Love you. Bye. Mwah.